What up, what up? We gonna tap in. Got my phone at this angle while it's charging. We'll flip it around in a little bit. But I wanted to have this conversation with y'all about what greatness is and what it's not. Right? Let me take this off the screen. It's always got this old unpin. We have a conversation about what greatness is and what it really is and what it isn't. Because I feel like there's a lot of things that be misconstrued today, and we tend to not know anymore what greatness is. Now, through the years, I've had a lot of conversations, and I broke down a lot of conversations about talent, art, knowing music, not knowing music, out of tune, in tune. I've always had these conversations about understanding the difference between what greatness really is, right? Because today, greatness is like what's in front of the camera, Facebook. Like that's not greatness. That's the illusion. So never get it twisted. Our job is when I think about the championship and I think about the commercial, or it's not a commercial, it's a video where they show Jalen Brunson and they tell you that this is what greatness really look like. It's not what they tell you, right? Like him in the gym every day. And let me see if I got the video, if I shared it. Him in the gym every day, outside working out with his father, and he damn near crying on some of these videos because he's so tired, right? That's what greatness is. Greatness isn't, chill out. Greatness isn't what people make the illusion of. In today's time, and what I notice is that nobody really want to work hard in any affair. So, real greatness is hard work and practice and arguments and frustration and going back and starting over and doing this shit consistently, right? That's what it's going to take. Greatness is obtained in the darkness, right? And then the effort that is given is shown in the light or in the public. So that's why you got to remember, greatness is not something that a person or people can take from you, no matter how much money or marketing that they go about it. But the average person today has looked at everything with music. Everybody rap because they like, shit, if they can do it, I can do it, because it's that simple. I know 8, 9-year-olds that can rap like the niggas today, right? But greatness is the hard work, the effort, the sad parts when ain't nobody around, when you get into it and there's nobody to you. Stop, man. And ain't nobody else around but you. When everything left out. That's what greatness is. When nobody believe in you and it's just you. Let me see if I can turn my phone and this shouldn't tweak on me. Oh, it tweaked on me? Okay, so it's going to tweak on me because I had to do that way. Hold on, y'all. But that's what greatness really is. And I think that a lot of people today are afraid to challenge that. And in social norm and what we do today in all fields, not just music, and sports and everything has got so sidetracked from what it really is. So I just wanted to touch with the people and to remind you, if your idea of being great, then you got to ignore what the fuck is going on out here. Because to be successful today, it ain't about being great. It ain't about being none of that. And we got to realize that true greatness, that true underlying greatness, that true is what we strive for. But that's hard work. That's humility, right? That's when nobody around. That's when everything against you. That's what greatness really is. That's why today we starting to see all these posts go viral where they saying like, yo, if you 30 and you still rapping, keep rapping. I remember just a couple years ago, they was like, if you 30 and you still rapping, hang that shit up, right? And I'm talking about like just posts I seen online. The reality is you can't mimic the people that's a little older, like 30 to 40 and a little up. They seen an era of music that was based off of talent and, you know what I mean? And so we're the last probably generations of those who are going to hold that standard, except for the youth who came up under real musicians and guys and women like that who helped them understand the true standard. Now, once again, I said this statement 8, 9 years ago on live. People argue with me about when I said it about being older, right? Just like it's a lot of things that come out now and it's the same thing. But I just always say your greatness. When we see Jalen Brunson, he was in the gym. They got videos when he like 8, 9, 10. And he out there working out with his father. And he crying damn near. And he like, nah. You know what I'm saying? Tired is for the week. And they out there working and working. So you don't see that right now. You see the NBA. And you see what he do in the games. And you think like, yeah. But you don't realize how much hard work went behind Jalen Brunson being who Jalen Brunson is. Right? And then you got people that just like naturally talented, 6'7", 6'8", athletic. And, you know, they work hard, but they got the side. You got somebody like Jalen Brunson that's a guard, who ain't the super fastest, ain't the best dribbler in the world, but at the end of the day, I'll play anybody on work ethic. So, and no matter what you do, and especially to the artists out there, stop believing this illusion that y'all, that as artists, that the industry and what they're showing you what to make it, don't allow the older guys to lead you wrong because they gave up on their ways and they don't see it. Y'all playing a new game, but the game y'all playing, y'all should be paying attention to the Diddy cases, the trials, and what's going on in hip-hop to realize that to get in the door, that's what they on, right? So if you really want to be special or unique, the issue that everybody that's older than the generation of the youth is having is that it's not that the music is all bad. It's just not authentic, right? We constantly hear the same song, the same melodies, the same flow over and over again. And as you mature and as you build towards yourself as an artist, what's going to end up happening is if you stay there, you're going to bore out your audience, right? If you sound like the norm, and that's what we call, I've been in a lot of rooms. And what I'm talking about is playing the safe. If you're a rapper or a singer, and when you play music for me, and when every song you play for me, I can hear another artist style, like, you know what I'm saying? Then I know that you playing it safe. It don't mean you're not a dope artist. It's just I know you playing it safe. You're not taking no chances. You know that this song was out and this type of style or this type of flow was out, so you're using this flow, right? But at the same time, that's lack of originality. So that's the reason why these posts are going viral, right? Everybody argue for a minute. The youth, people around like, oh, older niggas don't get it. And even people our age said, man, you out. Nah, we not outdated. What we saying is that fraudulent and fake shit can only last for so long in any business, right? You gonna make money off of some fake shit until they realize that it's not authentic. You know what I'm saying? Right now you can make money, but when they line you up with time and history, what separates you from everybody else? What is it that you offered? What was unique about your style, right? Because right now everything sounds the same, and that's why the game is so clouded. I want y'all to remember, for all the artists out there, for everybody that don't understand the point, we only feeding into the system that's destroying us as artists and as people of all colors. They said they got a format. Hold on. They said they got a format for artists. They said they don't need talent. They got a format. This is what the label's saying. They got a format for all. They don't even need talent. They can just bring any rappers in that's hungry. Motherfuckers, they can do whatever they want to do, wear dresses, do whatever. And then they got the writers and they got everything. They don't even need talent no more. But what's happening right now with this Diddy case, and like when Suge is speaking, is telling us, like, understand, for all my young artists and even artists older, if you chasing record deals, that's what you chasing. You chasing that life. Understand the shit that Diddy going through, not excuses for him. When Diddy got in, that's what they did to him. You feel me? That's what they did to Diddy. When he got in, David Arell, you know what I mean? And a lot of people before him did the same role. So just like when you go in a room, and this in movies, sports, and everything, when you go in these rooms and you're artists and you see your favorite artist, and he over there he in the office in the front, and you walk in the back, you like, well, shit, he must have did it too. This how they really be on it. A lot of people not going to turn around and go back home and say, nah, I turned that down knowing they got kids, baby mama. This is the reality of this shit. And they ain't about to go back as no failure. But that's what you chasing. And we watch it. The youth, I understand. Any artist over 30 years old, there's no excuse for you to be running around with this illusion of the record deal, or even have to ever come out your mouth about how somebody's not successful on any level that's of 30 and older, when we are the generation who, even our OGs in music and all of the people that we watch since children, have all told us as we got older that they regret it. You know what I'm saying? And it's not too many ways. That's why I just say, look, I tell every artist I know, make your choice, but understand, if you're going to play the young boy game, then understand that them fans, they going to come and go. If you ain't trying to shoot nothing, if you ain't trying to be on First 48 or put something on First 48 and document it and tell on yourself, man, the kids don't give a fuck about nothing that you talking about. So don't fall into that illusion. Eventually, just like, I'm gonna say it like this, in the 50s, when the 60s came, they was like, that ain't real music. When the 70s came, the people of the 60s said that wasn't music. You feel me? When the 80s came, the people of the 70s. And it's gonna constantly happen. Also, there was never a time in music where the eras went backwards. Right? So we're never going to go back to where we were. It will go somewhere else. So even right now, what's hot now ain't going to be hot in 2027. You know what I mean? So our job as businessmen, creators, is not to constantly replicate the same fucking piece of equipment that's been created over and over again. Because that's what you motherfuckers is doing. I'll be blunt. When I look at creations, like J. Cole said, people are not going to go and create their own inventions. They're going to see authentic people creating shit, and they're going to modify it and then put it back out for cheaper. Destroy another person's hard work and do it, right? That's called innovation. Right? But that's where we at. And so that's why I say understand. If you innovating, the audience is short and long lived. You know what I mean? Wherever you live at, what they like where you live at, that might be just the thing. But what they might like countrywide and globally, people where you stay where they might not can't see that. You know what I'm saying? That's why there's a difference between local artists, global artists, you know what I'm saying, and regional. Because sound supersede opinions and things. And that's why I say, the shot to everybody to say, if you 30 and you still doing whatever you love, not just rap, keep doing it, because everything past our generation has been degraded and watered down. And so my advice is that if you gonna walk around and say you great, and you gonna do all of the above and boast and brag on anything you do, at least have the work ethic and the real skill. She's nothing better than somebody who pops shit like a Mayweather or, you know, Papoose girl. They pop shit, but they work extremely hard. So, yeah, when they talk junk, it make people get aroused and make people want to see them lose. But the work ethic is so impeccable that the average person can't just walk up there, or even the average good fighter can't come up and just beat them, because it takes more than just your skill set. It's mind, mental preparation, who body, you be a better fighter than me. But if I know you a knockout artist, if I can get you in that 6-7 round when you ain't used to, you a rookie. So I just wanted to shout out to everybody to understand that what greatness is. Greatness isn't that bullshit that we witnessing. Everything that we witnessed for the last decade is bullshit. The music, most of this shit was bullshit. What they was pushing, the reason they was pushing it, what they was selling, who they went after. They went after our kids first, which is the youth, who now young men and women, right? The music industry, and we ain't holding nobody fucking accountable. Go back 10 years ago, they started with our fucking kids, who young men and women now. They fucked them up. How they see sex and how they see the world, drilling and killing, right? And now in the past 3-4 years, they going after our women. And they got them making the songs like, and what I'm saying, I'm not knocking the women with y'all hip hop. I'm saying psychologically, look at what hip hop did to the black men in the 90s and how it had us calling y'all bitches and hoes and fuck a bitch. You know what I'm saying? And now look at the music that they got y'all making. It's the same music, but now it's on the other side. So I ain't hating on it, because now we got to deal with it. But I'm asking as women, did y'all pay attention to the effect that it had on us as black men? Because look at the 30, 40, and 50-year-olds. We are living in our second childhood, all of us. I don't care what you say. So if it had an effect on us as men, then what will female hip-hop have an effect on women, their children, including their sons? Because we already, the sad part is black men, we already fucked up, right? We went past sexualizing, they tired of that. And it still work if you smart, you know what I'm saying? I hate to say it like that. But now, with a game at today, like you gotta be a serial killer, a killer to get people. That's fucked up. But that's what they raised our youth on. And what they did was they got our youth in the new generation and the people to buy in, because some of the older people, children too, they start talking that young knowledge like, yeah, them rappers, they won't really real, they won't kill us, they won't supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? If they came from the streets, the goal was to get out of the streets. Now, they done reversed the game. They got the older rappers getting back in the streets, and now you ain't real. Man, listen, let me tell you something. When you live to be our age, you laugh and you smile and you be thankful that you made it the fuck out of them situations. You don't let nobody pull you back. See, and that's the thing. Sometimes you'll watch it, and you got to catch yourself and don't let anybody trick you out your spot or back in the street, because people do shit to trick you to bring you backwards. Because they got to bring you back in order to fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? And that's just word of advice, because we all vulnerable to it. But I watch more older people. So if the elder rappers and the older rappers are not leading the artists or the businessmen or the creators or the clothes designers into the right direction, you know what I mean? So that's why an artist today could be like, shit, I don't fuck, man. Them niggas want real rappers. Like, yo, we forgot the rules. The brave man dies. He don't get to tell the story all the time, right? And Monster Cody said it best. He said, yo, bravery is really like, it's like strong ignorance. You know what I'm saying? It's a form of ignorance until you smart enough to know better. What we ride for, cool. But if you ever grow up, you start realizing that your ethics and your morals is in the wrong place a little bit. You know what I mean? So that's why I say people get it twisted. You can sit back and you got to understand the different levels of music and hip hop. And also, if you're an artist, you also got to study the mind. And I tell people, don't believe the hype. If you tap in with me and you've been tapped in with me, then you know. So understand, that's why now they saying if you 30 and up, yeah, because they starting to realize that the youth, because they was misled and misguided, and the older men in hip hop and with the money, and they just sit back, or the older people that's around them don't say, hey man, like, I like what you're doing with the melodies. Yo, kill them melodies, so that's gonna make them hooks and them bridges fire in some songs. But yo, still rap, you know what I'm saying? Still go after the true potentials of what it means, right? Do your thing, change it, shift it, mold it, do alchemy with it. But what happens is, the older generation, we talking about the true hip hop heads, that's like the 55 to the 45. They disassociated a little bit. Music is 5 generations past them right now, and their music was pure. So they disassociated, not out of disrespect, just out of the end of the day, is that they should not really have a taste for it. But from about 60 to 30, niggas in their second childhood. And Nas rapped about this, meaning that when I look at the 30 and 40 and 50 years old of our parents, they were in a different phase of life. Right? And if you go back to our grandparents, they was really in a different phase of life. When I look at the 30, 40-year-olds, they still got the essence of their 20s, right? And that's all of us, right? We didn't age, we look young, you know what I'm saying? We don't look mid-30s, 40, whatever, and we carry it well, right? But mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, we don't carry it well. We a society of motherfuckers coping, but we lost. So sometimes they say, hey man, why people don't da-da-da? Like, if you really woke and spiritually woke on all levels, not just religion, I'm talking about understanding the knowledge of self, understanding, right? Then being emotionally in tune, because when people say the person's emotional, the lack of emotions is a lack of human. That's what makes you human. The balance of emotions is a good thing. But at the same time, if you're an artist, then you know that your emotions is your gift. Because it's your gift and your curse. Sometimes you happy, sometimes you sad, sometimes you partying. That's what we talking about in the music. Sometimes I hate a person, sometimes I love. But the reality is, my point is saying that when I listen to the older guys, they're giving horrible information. Right? We talking about information given by failures to other failures, not failures of their self, of their own mind. I seen more rappers of that generation quit and give up then I see them hold on to something. And that's why I say it's your mind and who you is. Like Steve Jobs said, the average person gonna give up on their dreams when they dream conflict with their lifestyle. Rather than I ain't about to keep investing in music or da-da-da. I'm about to drive a Benz. Now I got kids, right? That's the logical mind. That's the average mind. This Steve Jobs for everybody that want to argue it, right? But it's the unlogical mind, the person that don't listen to what everybody else say. Yo, you got to be in groups. You got to do this. The unlogical man is the one that changes the world. A man being plural for man and woman. The man that doesn't settle. Everybody else say, man, that's just how music is. Nah, but the unlogical man say, I don't care what the fuck music is like. I'm going to take it to where it's supposed to go. Right? And that's why I say it's levels. As an artist, it's your choice of what door you want. If you want artistic freedom and greatness, that's the hardest door. If you want ownership, if you want to be self-made, those are the hardest doors. There ain't no accolades in the front. Hard work and true talent don't come with flowers. And no matter what you do until you finish. Most of the great inventions we got and everything that we got in the world today, they were idiots until that invention worked. So remember, when you standing on the edge, stop forgetting that you on the edge. You either going to jump eventually or you going to turn around. The only two choices you got. Or the chance that where you standing at ain't sturdy and you fall anyway. And those are the people that stumble to success. But it's our goal to push the line. As I was coming up, the people I had behind me, they taught me very well, right? Including my family. Meaning that early on I didn't get it, but I get it now. That's why I say whatever you do, if you're going to be great, get it out your head that the claps and the praise that don't come with it. That's not what you're working for. You're working for the final result. When the right people, minds, whoever actually lay eyes on it one day, whether if it's when you alive or 100 years from then. Right? But you can dictate the pace of it. That's why I say, I see a lot of people that I know, a lot of men, I notice that they don't know the difference between destiny and fate. You know what I'm saying? And I noticed that a lot of people just deal with just that one side. They let life happen and dictate to them. Right? And And then you got those who understand. That's why I said destined for destiny, because destiny is when you take control of fate and you tie it up. And you tell your fate that you're going to change your course of life, and you take it where the fuck you plan on going. Right? Now, it ain't no map. You can't, and whatever you doing, you can't let other people rush your timing, because your gift, your blessing, your creation ain't of theirs. It's just like that story when they said that that animal asked the elephant why it takes so long for you to give birth. And the elephant told the other one, because that dog, it gave birth before the elephant could give birth. Once the dog had gave birth to probably like 50 kids. And it said sometimes it takes certain things longer to manifest with greater works. So I just say, keep your head. And I just thought it was a beautiful thing to see. It's all over. Like, if you 30 still rap, you damn right. But you should have known that in the first place. Knowing your worth and knowing the atmosphere and knowing what's going on. And I give it to you like this in the dog world. I know a lot of people that sell dogs, but it's so many blind dog sellers. They want to go spend 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bands on a dog and then breed the dog or get another dog. And then they like, well, I'm just going to make 10, 11 bands. They ain't never sold a dog, did the work, none of that shit. They just going off of the price, not realizing that there was a guy or woman who created that dog that they're buying, who at the time when they first created it, the dog had no papers and it had no real value to the real world, like the dog kennels. But that dog looked so pretty and made so much money because they still sold it for what they said. Y'all want 2,000 and people bought them because they never seen them before. To after the first year, they seen so much money get exchanged that the kennels call them and say, we'll give you paperwork. Your job is to create the next thing, not to keep replicating the same shit. BH.